Okay, what are we here to talk about? Is Mormonism the religion of peace? Oh, actually, no, we're not. Is Islam the religion of peace? Well, let's put it this way. If I have the freedom here to stand up and say that, as far as I'm concerned, Islam is a miserable, negative, horrible, homophobic, desert superstition that has no place in the Western world, has no place in the 21st century, and the world would be better off without it. Now, the thing about it is, I can also say that about Christianity and Judaism, and I would, but I wouldn't be worried about being killed by a Christian or by a Jew for saying it. What we're seeing at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, is a complete abandonment of Western values in the face of fear of being accused of being Islamophobic. And really, as the American writer Greg Gutfeld says, we're all guilty of actually suffering from Islamophobia, which is basically a fear of being accused of being racist or being Islamophobic. Whereas there are an awful lot of things that we should be prepared to stand up and actually say, well, you know, if you think it's a religion of peace, let's see, ask Theo van Gogh, ask Pim Fortuyn, ask Ryan Hirsi Ali, ask Lee Rigby, ask the staff at Charlie Hebdo, ask the gig goers at the Bataclan, ask the residents of San Bernardino, ask Pamela Geller, or even better, ask all the millions of Muslims who are living in a state of daily threat from their co-religionists. The simple fact of the matter is, we have a chance in this country, in this culture, particularly in Ireland. We got rid of Catholicism effectively as a dominant theological narrative in this country. And as Mr. Al-Kadri was saying earlier, like, would we judge all the Catholic Church for all the childhood scandals? Well, the thing is, we did judge the Catholic Church for it. That's why nobody goes to Mass anymore, right? The simple fact of the matter is that we still have the ability to make rational, value-laden decisions which have nothing to do with xenophobia, which have look, that's for the last time, Islam is not a race. It's a violent, expansionist, dangerous political ideology, right? So yet, in the lazy, in the soft, in the smug West, we are far more concerned with hurting people's feelings than we are about actually confronting the truth and saying that, for the simple fact is, Islam is incompatible with modern pluralist Western values. If you believe in gay rights, if you believe in the rights of insufficiently modest women not to be killed, if you believe in the rights of, everybody here is a South Park fan, I would imagine. If you believe in the rights of the lads from South Park, sorry, I'll be taking questions afterwards. If you believe in the rights of South Park to do a cartoon mocking Muhammad without suffering bomb threats and without being forced into pulling the cartoon, well then, be prepared to say you're not Islamophobic, but you're not going to have it. You're not going to accept it. We're walking around with a cudgel of fear over our shoulders, where we're not prepared to turn around and say, oh, the so-called Islamic State. I don't recall anybody ever saying the so-called Irish Republican Army. Nobody was afraid to call them what they were, the IRA. And yet over here now, we have to parse our words by going, the so-called Islamic State. They are doing what they're doing in the name of Islam. And as the first speaker on the opposite side of the motion said earlier, the media are mischaracterising and misportraying Islam. I agree. They're soft-soaking it. They're not going far enough. I cannot tell you how many conferences, how many news conferences I've had in my career where I've been told that I can't say the truth, not because it's wrong, but because it's offensive. Well, sometimes we should be offending people. We should be prepared to offend them, because we should be prepared to say that if people are going to come into particularly people are going to come into Western culture, these are the values that if you don't share, don't come in, we'll be fine without you, right? And the problem is, as long as we have a situation, most people, we are being lied to by our media. We're being lied to by a Western media, which is terrified of legal issues, and they're terrified of being shot. This is 2016, and we have journalists being slaughtered on the streets of a capital city in Europe, right? We have people who were being shot in Texas for trying to draw a Muhammad cartoon. And for everybody who gives out about gun control, the two guys who turned up, they were promptly shot by local Texans who had guns. So you see, guns actually do help save people. And the thing is, people can talk about sort of climate change is the biggest threat we face. You can angrily wave your fist at the sky all you want. The biggest threat that faces the Western way of life since the fall of the Cold War is radical expansionist Islam. Of course there are decent Muslim people. That's why I think Donald Trump's idea of not allowing any Muslims in is an absolute abomination. I'm completely against that, for the simple reason that I believe in the power of the individual over the stupidity of an ideology, over the stupidity of any ideology.
On that point?
No. Do you know what, actually, you've been refused all night, please go on.
So you say that the issue is this radical expansionist Islam, but this radical expansionist Islam is so totally different from the Islam which came before it, and so terribly warped by major historical events caused by the West, that it can be seen as a separate religion. How is that Islam actually Islam? How is that the Islam we're talking about? How is that really Islam?
You want to know the cause of Islamic extremism? The cause of Islamic extremism is Islamic extremism. It's a self-perpetuating, expansionist ideology, which, as we see in the region, doesn't work out for those people who don't conform to its beliefs. Right? It's as simple as that. Now, we have the luxury here tonight, and it's a luxury that we are really in danger of giving up if we're not careful. We can actually look at the world the way we would like things to be. We would like to believe that everybody is just slightly misguided. We would like to believe that Islamic State, or so-called Islamic State, aren't actually Muslims. If that was the case, then we wouldn't keep on hearing Allahu Akbar over every snuff movie that comes onto the internet every time we have to see things, right? These things are being done in the name of Islam. I don't care about the theology of Islam, no more than I care about transubstantiation. No more than I care about the Torah. I don't care. I'm an atheist. All these things are equally ridiculous. What I did know that one was enough. But the thing about it is, all I care about isn't the theology. All I care about is not being killed for insulting Muhammad. All I care about is not being attacked for people for printing a cartoon of Muhammad. All I care about is that all the battles that we've gone through in the West to allow freedom of expression, to allow women's rights, to allow gay rights, to allow all these things that people and the forefathers of everybody in this room fought for. All I want is the right for people in Europe to express these values without worrying about being killed. Right? I don't care whether you can kill it in the name of Islam or you can kill it in the name of Bill Hicks. It doesn't matter. People are still being killed, and that's the problem. Thanks very much.